Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our wonderful webinar for News-O-Matic, our newest wonderful product from Bayard. We are from Flum Publishing. My name is Dave Perosi, and I service as a New York State rep for Flum Publishing, a division of Bayard. My wonderful co-host today is Angela from the southern part of California. Hi, Angela. How are you?
Hello, Dave. I'm very good. I'm very happy to be here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our News-O-Matic webinar. I'm very happy to be here with you today. Before we dive into the wonderful world of News-O-Matic, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been with Flam Publishing Group, division of Bayer, for a little bit more than 2 years, and it's been awesome. I'm the kind of person who believes that every day is a chance to learn something new. And that is why I'm so excited that we are here to get to share with you about News-O-Matic, which is all about engaging content, creative learning, and inspiring the new generation of critical thinkers. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and get ready for a fun and informative session.
Great.
And now that you have met me, I'm excited to introduce to you someone who brings a whole new level of energy and expertise to the table. She's our amazing sales rep for the Midwest, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and Wisconsin, Jen Miller. Take it away, Jen.
Oh, well, thank you, Angela, and thank you, Dave. So nice to be here with the both of you. And hello and welcome to everyone, and welcome to Understanding News-O-Matic for the Catholic Schools webinar. And allow me to introduce to you our presenter, Brandon Cohen. Brandon is the Chief Partnership Officer at News-O-Matic. He has been in education for over 20 years, and he currently resides in North Carolina with his lovely wife, who is an educator. Hello, Brandon. A big welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Jen, Dave, and Angela. We really appreciate having everybody here today to learn. We're so excited about our partnership with Flom, and really want to just dive right in and get into News-O-Matic for the Catholic schools, because we think this is going to be a perfect fit for so many. So again, thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get started right now. So first thing we're going to ask as we go to, what is News-O-Matic, right? What is this new thing? What did they partner with? What is all this? So with News-O-Matic, we provide over 15,000 articles. We're approaching 15,000 right now. We just hit that recently. But 15,000 articles that we have provided over the last 12 plus years to students and parents and educators all across the country. What's great about these 15,000 articles are that you're going to find 5 fresh articles, 5 brand new content every single day in terms of what we're doing for those articles. What makes that great is we're the only ones right now in K through 8 that are providing, that literally have a team of people producing these articles every single day. Yeah. And on the Catholic side, what makes us even more wonderful is the fact that we have teamed up with Flom to go through specific units, and that's what we're going to hit on in just a second here, to talk about on units. Specifically addressing some of the Catholic schools' needs, right? So one of the biggest things that we're going to talk about today is Catholic identity, right? We're going to definitely hit on that. And also just learning the intercultural education with diverse learners, right? That's really important that we address those things. So we're going to hit on this as we go through this. As we go through to Dave, Jen, Angela might just jump in, and if anybody else wants to jump in, please let us know. One thing that we ask is if you have any questions, please throw those in the chat as we go through this, right? We'll be happy to be able to do this. And what I'm going to ask you, first of all, if you don't mind, if you can put in anything that you'd like us to address today. Is there anything in the news that you'd like to see, or anything that any certain areas that you want me to focus on? Also throw those in the chat too, if you don't mind. That would be wonderful if that would be okay, right? If you don't, we'll just go through the overview and we'll start there. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everybody just to make you used to here with News-O-Matic. So just give me 1 second here. All right. Okay, so everybody seeing my screen okay? Is that right?
Yes, great.
Fantastic. All right. So first thing you're going to see about News-O-Matic is how, look at the artwork and think of yourself as a student. What I want to be super as I'm trying to find my daily news, do I want something that's super engaging? Of course I do. Right? Do I want something that's really going to pop when I read it? Do I want to get articles that I want to read? And those are the things that we look for every single day, right? Now, one of the best things that you're going to learn about this as well is that we make sure that a child psychologist reviews these articles every single day, okay? So just to give everybody a timeline on this, our team meets at 9:30 every morning. They go through what the daily articles are, right? At 5 o'clock, this gets published. Okay, so you can imagine how quickly they have to produce these articles and what needs to happen. So we have a wonderful team of writers and journalists and educators that team up here to put these articles together, and you're going to see the amount of work that goes into this. Okay, so as we go into News-O-Matic, I'm just going to scroll through a couple different things in here to be able to show you here. So we can sit there and see as we go through this Darwin 200, right? That we look for Europe's newest space explorers that we're going to focus on, right? And you're going to be able to see indigenous arts all aboard California to Nevada, high-speed train that students might be interested in, right? And just many other things, world's largest election that you're being able to see, that we celebrated Earth Day not too long ago to be able to focus on that, right? So all of these things that you're going to be able to find within News-O-Matic, Wonderland of Rocks and AI versus Hornets, all of this you're going to be able to find in News-O-Matic. But before I even get into the articles, I want to go straight into the Catholic version and why News-O-Matic, why for daily news, why do we have to have this for our schools, right? So as we go through this, one of the things I want you to see here is that we've created custom units. So we've listened and teamed up specifically with FLOM and David on their team and many others that we were able to work with to make sure that we're getting content that you can use for news as well. So when I go in here, you can see now this is all going to be filled in within the next week or so. Right? So the great thing is we've already put some units together on living the gospel, right? Again, talking about that Catholic identity and really hitting in on that. We're going to talk about living the gospel and what does that mean for you as a school, and how does that mean for students and trying to get articles they can read about this. But also understanding the Pope as well, right? And then also, things like the sacraments, the church, saints, and holy people. You're going to find all articles on this. And this is all going to be finished within the next week or so that we're looking at having all of these units filled out for the Catholic schools. Okay. So let's go into an article and just show you what this looks like, right? So I want to hit on that. One thing that I want to make sure it's clear too, oftentimes when you get news sources, we've been so prone as humans to sit there and say, oh, it's got to be slanted one way or the other, right? And we rightfully so, we can feel that way, right? One of the things I want to make sure that everybody is absolutely clear about with News-O-Matic is that these articles have not only been vetted by our editorial team to make sure that the content is not slanted. We make sure that we look at every single article and make sure that it would fit into any school or district or state, and especially Catholic schools, right? Mm-hmm. So, as you're looking through this is exclusive content as well that we're going to have that are specifically going to be for FLOM and for the Catholic schools. Some of the public schools will not be able to see some of this content that we have within these units. So it's really great, exclusive content that they're going to be able to have. But you can sit there and see there's no slant here. When Trump meets the Pope in 2017, you see 4 years later that Biden meets the Pope. Not even a difference in the description in there, right? So nothing that you're going to be able to see within this. If we go into this article and we want to show you in here, this talks about there have been 266 popes, 45 US presidents. Here's Biden meeting with the Pope and going through everything. You can sit there and see now, one of the things is super interactive for students as a stained glass in the background. And we know how much that means within the Catholic churches in terms of just going through that. I was in Paris last week, got to go to Notre Dame and do a 3D virtual and be able to see that in person and see, you know, that stained glass was so cool. But you can see we're really trying to take what would, again, I want to hammer this home, that Catholic identity and making sure that that's within News-O-Matic, right? And so that, you know, you can see with the background there. But the other thing you can see is we've put this in 3 different Lexile levels for educators and students. Cool thing is we are expanding those Lexile levels, and that's going to be it back to school. And those levels are going to be anywhere from 350 to 1100 in terms of Lexile levels that we'll be seeing. So you've got 3 now. You're going to have 5 Lexile levels coming back to school. So we're constantly looking at making enhancements and what we can do to make it better. Okay. But I want to show you kind of the difference here, right? So if I hit a 540, you're going to notice the paragraphs become a little less developed. The wording becomes, you know, not nearly as comprehensive as we look in here, but anything that might be a kind of a challenge word for those students.
Poverty.
They can click on it and it actually reads out loud. Did that audio work for everybody? I just want to, yep, great. Just want to make sure that worked. So you can hear how that works, right?
Climate change.
Right. We can click on climate change to be able to see, and then
Tradition.
so you're able to see there, we're able to click on certain words. If I move it to 860, notice the paragraphs become more developed. The wording is more comprehensive at this point. And the articles can tend to be a bit longer as well that they can have. We also added a word.
Persecution.
Right, persecution that we're able to see in there that you're going to be able to go through. So everything that you're seeing here on the right-hand side in the gray, okay, is going to be for the educators. Students will only see the white portion of this, but anything the educators want to be able to see is going to be on the right-hand side that they'll have availability to use. Okay, so I can share an article. Great thing about sharing an article is it actually has a token at the end of it. Okay, what does that token mean? It means that it can be shared with anybody. Okay, I don't have to log in. I don't have to worry about anything. All I have to do is click on the copy there. If I went to a new screen and click paste, it will paste it right in there and you'll have access directly to that article. That's how easy it is to share. So if you're using some type of LMS, or you're using something that you want to share with the students on a PowerPoint that you want to send out to them, or a Word document that you want to send out to them, no problem whatsoever. That'll be taken care of for you. Okay. So before we get into the rest of these though, let's talk about how to supplement this article. How do we bring this article alive, right? And really, we're looking at that nonfiction education, right? How do we ensure that nonfiction education to help students achieve better scores across, right? That's really what we're being able to focus on within this. So one of the things you're going to be able to see here is we actually have 6 questions, for example, on here. You're going to be able to see here, we have 6 questions, multiple choice and open-ended questions for those individual students. Now, our recent articles are leveled, and we're going to talk more about that as we go through. But what that means is that the tougher the Lexile level is, you're going to see more open-ended questions. The lower the Lexile level, you're going to see more multiple choice questions. So we started doing that within the last year. And so you're going to be able to see that now in every new edition, that you're going to have leveled questions that the students can use, right? So they're going to go in there. Brandon, how do we get comprehension? This is the perfect way to do that. hey, Brandon, I want to take more of a Catholic slant on this, and I want to make sure that I'm getting specific questions around the church. How do I do that? We can absolutely assign this article and adjust these questions for those schools, right? How cool is that? So now you're not just stuck with the questions that we want to have, not that you would be stuck with them. They're great questions, but you can now go in there and create your own questions specifically behind, for example, that Catholic education and as Catholic educators are working, right? So that's one thing you're able to do here. You're going to be able to find a fact and an act. What does fact and act do for students? It gives you a fact about the article and it gives you a way to act on it, right? So it's really easy to go in there and say, hey, the fact is that John Kennedy was the president. The act was President Biden started, this was a part of a bigger trip for Europe, right? So he actually seen more countries as he went through there, but you're able to go in there. Now, today's generation of students, right? What are the first things they want to do, right? They're YouTube generation, right? They love to jump on YouTube. They love the social media. They love images, right? They're visual learners. So let's give them what they want. So one of the things you're going to be able to see here is we have 4 images for those students, right? So you can see there's the President Biden actually obviously meeting with the Pope that we have within here, right? So you're going to find anywhere from 4 to 5 images in every article that we have that is going to be available. We talked about that YouTube generation, right? So why not have video that goes behind it, right?
Became the first U.S. president to meet the Pope.
So here you go.
That happened in 1919 with Pope Benedict XV. 40 years later, President Dwight Eisenhower met Pope John XXIII. Since then, every U.S. president has sat down with the leader of the Catholic Church. That includes John F. Kennedy.
Okay, so here a great little video on different presidents visiting, with the Pope, and every single president has visited with him. So it's a great 1-minute introduction for students to be able to understand that, right? So our videos are typically going to last anywhere from 15 seconds to a few minutes that you're going to have availability to be able to find within this, right? But it's really, we try to make them engaging. We try to make sure that it really is going to catch the students' attention. And again, it's all about that engagement factor and making sure that we're giving students the way that they are learning, right? And so you're going to be able to find that we're going to have videos in here. You're also going to see we have these, we have 5 different languages. Okay, so if we have any type of foreign language classes, or do we have any ELL students that might be in there? Do we have different, do we have any dual immersion type of courses or classes that might be available? So now you can go into News-O-Matic. I can simply click on Spanish, click read to me.
El presidente se reúne con el Papa. El presidente de Estados Unidos, Joe Biden, habla con el Papa Francisco en Europa.
Okay, so what makes this great? Okay, 2 things. 1, it's not read. This is not a Google Translate, right? This is not something that you're going to have to worry about. Is this going to actually translate the right thing on there? We actually hire actors and actresses all across different countries and find the most neutral in terms of languages, right, for those specific languages. And as our editorial team is working, they produce the articles, they send this, and then these people read these articles at the lowest Lexile level. So you'll always find this at the lowest Lexile level for them to be able to read this article for them, right? This has been an extremely powerful tool with all of our schools across the country, right? And one of the ways that, that they come back to us is schools come back to us and they say, Brandon, we absolutely love this tool because we don't have to worry about it. But the second thing is it's really great that we actually have somebody, and something to be able to read out loud to them. And you have 5 different languages. There's nobody else out there that's doing 5 different languages. read by a human, right? So it's really cool. So I just want to play a few more languages here just to get an idea. Here's for anybody that's French. This will be available for you.
Le président rencontre le pape. Le président des États-Unis, Joe Biden.
Okay, here is Arabic.
الرئيس يلتقي بالبابا الرئيس الأمريكي.
Here's Mandarin.
总统会见教皇。美国总统乔拜登与教皇方济各在欧洲进行会谈。
Okay. And if we didn't, if our person's not available, we just have Dave translate. He knows 5 different languages. I'm kidding, Dave. I'm just joking. But in all honesty, this is a fantastic tool to be able to use, right? And teachers and students love it, whether they are an ELL student or whether they're just doing dual, doing foreign language classes or everything in between. It's a fantastic tool to be able to use for them. Okay. Now we talked before about, Brandon, how do we make sure this your content isn't slanted one way or the other, right? Or isn't feeling political left or right or anything in between, right? So we want to be as transparent as possible. You're going to see we have sources within here, right? Those sources are going to be done in an MLA format. So students can simply use this as part of their research. They absolutely love using this, right? Here's your citations. Here's where we found this information at. We want to be as transparent as we possibly can on where our sources are, right? So you're able to see here within your sources. If I click on this gray bar here, we're going to be able to see here. I can use highlights, right? I'm going to change this back to English here. So give me 1 second. Here we go, English. And so now I can come back here and we can highlight if we want. So we can take the blue highlighter, highlight, and that's it, right? And then we can save that if we want to. So it's great for you to be able to come in there and use this for highlights. And we are looking at in the very near future of being able to students to be able to put notes into News-O-Matic, right? So that's the next phase. I don't have a timeline of yet. I can tell you we're in the developmental stage on that, but we are, where students can then put notes in there. We're working on something like that right now as well. Okay. Students can simply save this information by clicking here. They can print this off. How critical is that? So now you have these articles. If I don't have enough laptops, if I was using laptop carts in my classroom, if I know a snow day is coming and students might not have internet access, great. I just print it off and they have that availability in there, right? What makes this great too is, as you can sit there and see here, as we load the preview, the picture pops up right there with them as well, right? So you have the whole article on there. That's really easy for them to be able to print off and be able to use. Drawings, okay? I love the drawing feature for the social emotional learning, okay? During the COVID, as we all dealt with what feels like a million years ago, but also feels like yesterday all at the same time, right? This is a fantastic tool for social emotional learning, right? Having kids express themselves in a way that's healthy, right? So they can come in here, they can draw in here, and they can also use this. Think about for the Catholic schools, we want to draw the cross, or we want to draw different things that maybe a priest that might have had a great influence on our life. We want to do a theme. We can draw this and then we can keep this, or we can send this off to the teacher however we want to. It's a great tool for students to be able to use for that. Okay. The other piece behind this as well is we can ask Russ. This is Jen's favorite feature. She told me earlier, right? Or you can go and ask Russ. I'm kidding. But what the ask Russ is you can come in here and send Russ a message. He doesn't answer every message, just to be clear. But what he does do is he will select a few that might have some relevance to today, or it might be something that a student wants to, highlight, or they might request something that they want to see in the future. And you're going to see Russ answer that. And we're going to show you that. That's going to be in the newsroom where he answers that. So we're going to show you that in a few seconds as we go through. We're going to rate this. And this is this is a cool tool for students because this provides instant feedback for us, right? Do they like the article? Does it need improvement? What do they need to be able to do? This is awesome. It's okay. Right. And then Dave's personal favorite. Okay, was this one right here, right? We don't get many of those. That's the cool thing, right? We get a lot of awesomes and okays and a few it sticks just because the kids like it or Dave likes the music in the background, right? As we go through this. But you're able to see here within the ratings of what the students being able to do. And then we have authors. Russ actually got to visit a school within New York City and they were like, Russ, we read all your articles. We love when you write. So these kids get to really know the authors in here, which makes it really fun, really easy for them to be able to access and utilize, right? So, that's one of the ways. So let's return here to this custom unit and go back to the units here. And we're going to be able to see here again, we can customize this with your logo. I just want to be clear, we have the FLOM logo in there now, but we can customize this with your school's logo if you want us to, right? But again, and not to reiterate this time and time again, that Catholic identity, living the gospel, right? So we look at Jace's pop tabs for charity, right? So here is Jace, who is age 10, who collected metal tabs, right? And you can sit there and see here what the value is. So it teaches kids math, how much they handed him in Canadian dollars. And he donated all of that money and the March of Dimes to help support the March of Dimes. Okay. So it made it really easy and simple for him to be able to utilize and to do within there. Okay. What you're going to be able to see within this as well, within these articles that you're going to be able to see, and one thing to make clear too, we're not teaching students how to learn. We're teaching them how to love, how to learn and how to read. I just want to be clear. We're not teaching students how to learn how to read. We're teaching them to love reading, right? I want to be clear on that, right? So that's one thing that I want to make sure everybody understands. But again, as we look at this and we talk about, the Catholic religion and giving back and making sure that we're giving back to the community, Jace's story is fantastic to be able to show. And again, for those visual learners, check out all of these tabs that Jace collected. Isn't that cool? Angela, this was one of her favorite articles, she told me, right? But I mean, how cool is it that students saved all of those, collected all of those, and then gave back, right? And if there's one theme that I've heard from Catholic schools, it's trying to teach our kids to be good citizens, right? Whether that's in the church or at home, right? And so this is a great example of how students can be able to do that. And so this was a world record. It talks about where that was, and then here is supporting Jace, okay? So all of that is easy for you to be able to find. And again, I can't wait till these units are done. We're almost there. Like I just talked to the team this week. They're like, Brandon, we're at the finish line. We just have to match a few more images, and then we're going to have all of those units filled for you. So I'm really, really excited about that as we go through this. Okay. So let's show you though a recent article that we're going to be able to see here, right? And so let's talk about flying with the sun in here. So we want to talk about specific content to address, those educational needs within education. So what you can be able to see here is a special sail, right? It's called a solar sail. And so NASA just unfurled one in space, right? So you can be able to see this. So now we can go to these slideshows and we can be able to see within there, here's how they were creating it. It was lifted off in a rocket, and some days solar sails could go deep into space, right? And again, you have those images, YouTube generation, student engagement, all these themes that I keep repeating, but I want to make sure they're clear because this is the way our students are learning. And that's the one feedback that we've gotten. So let's take a look at this real quick.
The mission is testing revolutionary technology to allow robotic spacecraft to sail on sunlight. The Advanced Composite Solar Sail System introduces a new way to explore the cosmos. Much like a sailboat is propelled by wind, a solar sail spacecraft is pushed by light from the sun. Sunlight is composed of particles called photons. As these particles bounce off the reflective sail, the spacecraft accelerates. This eliminates the need for rocket propellant and makes it possible for spacecraft to travel indefinitely.
So how cool is that? Students are learning about space, they're learning about science, they're learning about protons, how it bounces off, how to use technology into space, right? And it's an article they want to read, right? It's not just in a textbook that's just flip the page, same stale content every single day. It's new, it's engaging, just came out, right? You're going to get that original content every single day that those students can utilize. So that's what we're really excited about. But let's also talk about differentiating instruction, okay? And let's talk about, students that have different needs, right? So I know, like, for example, I have ADD, right? So there's times where I have a hard time focusing and it's an issue that I have. But I can sit there and come in here and turn on an ADHD here. And I can now see this. Now it's putting on accessibility profiles for me. Okay, now if I want to say, hey, I want this to read to me, the one thing we didn't see is English yet, so we're going to show you this.
Flying with the sun, a special sail unfurls to speed through space.
I can
You
follow
probably see the
along with
boat's
this.
sails flapping in the wind. Air pushes against the sails. Then the boat cruises to...
Okay, so it makes it that easy. Once I set this for the student, it's automatically set. You can turn this on or off as you choose, right? To make it easy for the students, right? So really easy for you to be able to access, and the students can come in there and be able to learn as much as they possibly can, right? So you can sit there and see, here's the font size. Here's the text magnifier. So if I have students that might have issues seeing or any type of issues in here, I can go in here. Look at this. Look how it magnifies the text for me, right? And so you can go in there and be able to look at this and be able to use this. Not only that, but let's say, for example, I wanted, I might have issues with needed different saturation. I need dark high, I need low saturation, anything that you're going to be able to go to. So low saturation, high saturation, all of that's going to be available for you to be able to use. We can change the color, we can change the font, we can magnify it as we showed you. We can do specific, if we only want the reading guide, I can just put the reading guide on for them. So this has been a really important tool, again, to make sure that we're differentiating instruction and making sure that we're hitting on what's really important for students, okay? And that's making sure that we can, not all students are the same, right? And other students have different needs that we need to make sure that we support throughout all our schools. We want to make sure you have the tools to be able to do that, okay? So really easy for you to go in there and be able to access and come up with that. All right. One thing that you're going to be able to see as well. So I want to show you this map here that's really cool. So if I come in here and I click on this map and say, for example, we're an article that celebrates South Africa 30 years of freedom. You can sit there and see on this map where I'm at on the map, where South Africa is here. And then we can look at how far away is it, from the miles to kilometers to how long it would take to fly. I'm in North Carolina right now, as Jenna told you in the introduction. So it's just picking up my IP address. We're not keeping any student data. We're not, any of that stuff. All it's doing is picking up the IP address. And if I click hello right here, watch this.
In South Africa, people say hello in many ways.
Sawubona, njani. Hello, how are you? Hello,
Who found it?
It's going to teach you how to say hello in that country, right? Again, engagement, right? That's the one thing that we want to make sure. Students love to click buttons. They love to unlearn more. They love to be able to find different tools that are in there. There was a survey done recently by the National Literacy Institute. They found that 80% of first graders chose nonfiction books over fiction, right? How cool is that? Students want to learn about what's real. They want to learn about the world. They want to learn about the objects. They want to learn about what's happening on a daily basis, right? So 80% of them, 4 to 5 kids said, hey, give me nonfiction over fiction, right? So, but the one thing that we don't have is a lot of news sources that can provide it. This is what you can be able to provide, right? As we click and we tap in here, we can sit there and see, here's a fun fact about South Africa that we're able to go into, right? So all I do is click out of here and that's all you have to do, and you go straight back into the article. Really easy for you to access and go into, okay? Now, a couple things that we just talked about a second ago. One is the units, but we talked about the newsroom. I want to hit on the newsroom first. We're going to go back to the units and show you how you can use that in the classroom. But let's talk about the newsroom. So we just hit on this a second ago. And what is the newsroom? So this is where the students write to Russ, right? With some great questions. Hi, Russ, when was the first dinosaur born? Right? So then Russ answers 230 million years ago. Think about that, 230 million years ago. That's amazing, right? But hey, Russ, I'm Charlie. I'm 8 years old. I really, in caps, like News-O-Matic, right? I love this app. I don't know why, but it's just so much fun. This is how students think of this, right? Think of how many tools in the classroom that you use that students like, oh man, another day. They are excited. They're pumped to be able to go in there to be able to see this, right? And we're going to talk about it in a way that we make sure that we keep them engaged, right? We do different contests that you're going to be able to find and be able to utilize here, right? And so you can sit there and see some of the questions that are in there. The students can come in the newsroom. They can write to Russ. If they don't want to do it in the article, they want to do it in the newsroom, they can. And then you have the pictures for the day, right? So we select anywhere, around 7 or 8 pictures every day that we rotate typically. But you're going to be able to see here. What's really great, again, we talked about these images for SEL. It's really interesting to see what's going through a kid's mind when they produce an image and they send it over to us. Right. So solar sail, this really, that article that we just talked about made a big influence on a student to where they actually produced an image on there, or they produced a picture, I should say, on there. Right. And again, a lot of these are better than I could do. So that's the best part about this, right? These kids are true artists that are doing this. But you can sit there and see school lunch, watermelon, corn on the cob. I don't remember that for school lunch. So they must be having a good school lunch here, right? So anyways, but you can sit there and see what is in a student's mind. They can click here to draw. They can go in there. They can also do games here, okay? So a type of show, I can come in. We call this Hangman. We obviously don't call that for this reason. We call it Next Word, right? To be educationally appropriate in here. But I can sit there and click on this, right? To sit there and see what are the words. And as I fill this out, right, we're going to be able to see in here, right? Right, so we got the word in there. So it's a fun little game for students to be able to use. We have puzzles that are typically tied into some of our articles that are in there. And then we also have on this date. Jen, I'm going to put you on the hot seat right here, okay? I'm going to put you on the hot seat on April 30th. On this date, George Washington takes the oath of office as the first president of the United States. Is that 1789, 1854, or 1931? Jen, you want to take a shot at it?
Can I phone a friend?
You can phone a friend. Yes.
Dave, pick up. I would say
I'm gonna say 1789. I don't know, Jen.
1789. Okay.
That's what I would, yeah,
You're gonna phone a friend, or are we thinking that's it?
Yeah, me too.
All right, Angela, are we in
17.
agreement?
Yes, yes.
All right, here we go.
That's the one.
Oh, you got it.
Whoa, see, I am
Yes.
so smart. Look at that.
Yes.
I got
You
it.
phoned the right friend here, right? If I would have missed it, it gives you the old right that's in there. But again, gamification, short, short, easy games for them to be able to play. That's also helping them to learn through the process, right? So really easy for them to be able to go in there and be able to play these games that are in this, right? So one of the things that you're going to be able to see within here are the units. But one thing I want to show you before in just a second here is we do contest as well, right? And so within these contests, you're going to be able to see here all of the different articles that we have produced over the years on the contest. So one of the things that we did was a poll-to-poll contest, right? And what you're going to be able to see within this in the poll-to-poll contest is Grace Corthright, so who is age 10, who won the News-O-Matic flag. Here's the cool thing about this. So News-O-Matic isn't just producing articles, sending it to students. We try to make learning, again, as engaging as possible. And how can we get students involved in that learning process, right? So as we look at this in here, Grace, we had a contest that these people, Julie and Chris Ramsey, went from literally North Pole to South Pole, right? So pole to pole that they went in an electric vehicle as far as they could get. And the winner of the best flag drawing contest got to they planted their flag at both poles, right? So let me just show you a video of this because this is super exciting for students. So let's hit on this real quick here.
We are Chris and Julie Ramsey, and we are EV Global Adventurers from the Pole to Pole Electric Vehicle Expedition. And we're delivering you this message today from our hometown in Aberdeen in Scotland.
Now, recently we announced in conjunction with Russell, the Rockstar Khan from News-O-Matic, a global EV expedition flag design competition. And we were just blown away by all the entries we received from hundreds of kids all over the world, weren't we?
Absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
It was incredible. So thank you to each and every one of you who submitted an entry. And that winner is sitting in the room today.
And before we do announce that winner, which is really exciting, we just wanted to give a personal message to that individual and let you know that your flag design was absolutely beautiful. We loved it. We were blown away by it. And it just really captured the essence of what the Pole to Pole Electric Vehicle Expedition is all about.
Yeah, and with this flag design in particular made us smile. It reminded us that there's hope and there's inspiration in this world, and that there are true solutions out there to tackle the climate change situation we have. And we all need to do our bit to protect this fragile planet.
Now, I'm excited. So should we just say who it is?
I think we should.
Okay, let's announce it. So
So
after three, yeah. 1, 2, 3, and our winner is Grace Corthright.
Well done, congratulations. We absolutely love your design. Like I said, it truly made us smile. And the little messages and stories that you wrote to accompany your design just truly capture the essence of our exhibition. So thank you
Definitely.
so much.
And that's message about the plug being small and mighty. Wow, it was amazing. Because that plug definitely is small but mighty, and it's going to power us as we travel all the way through the Americas. But also for me, that represented the fact that you guys are small, but your voices are mighty, and you can achieve anything you want in life.
So we cannot wait to get your design printed onto a flag, and we're going to take that with pride to the top and the bottom of the world as we journey on our exhibition.
Okay, so and we've done recent articles that show that that flag was actually planted in there, which is super cool, right? And so, again, students got to submit this. We've got hundreds of submissions within this. And it was very, very powerful for Grace to be able to win. We got a beautiful letter from her parents saying how much it meant for her to have her flag planted at both of the poles. Right. So again, that is one of the ways that you're going to be able to see within News-O-Matic here. Okay. Now, the other thing that I'm going to show you really quickly is the units as we go through this. So the units are really cool. So now you're going to be able to talk about specific subject areas. So language arts, science, SEL. We went through science earlier today, talking about space in terms of what's happening, with that. But you're going to be able to see here within language, if I wanted to talk about poetry, we can sit there and see we have a unit behind the purpose behind poetry, as the students might need this in there, right? So you're going to be able to see within the history of the holiday poem, right, that they're going to be able to go in there and access. So we're going to cover all those core content areas that you're looking for. And again, just want to make note that those specific Catholic units are going to be specific to FLOM and to News-O-Matic, and only the Catholic schools will have that content that we're producing for you within those units, right? But all those units are available as well, okay? So the other thing that we're going to show you here is the teacher dashboard, okay? Brandon, how do we know that this is being used, right? How do we know how to use this in a classroom? So you can sit there and see, here's your teacher dashboard. So I can see, I can download resources. So here's a resource, for example, that you can download within this, then the teacher guide that includes vocabulary within there, right? Need lesson plan, need lesson ideas. We have on-demand webinars that you can access within this, right? A maple syrup celebration. All of these articles that are on there, you can download that for your students to be able to see. Say I wanted to go look as a class and I want to be able to see what a class looks like in here. So I can sit there and see how many articles were read by my students. I can see, how many multiple choice questions, if they had answered them, how long when they last logged in. So if a student said, hey, yeah, I logged in yesterday, you could say, no, you didn't, right? So, yeah, right. But again, that you're able to export this to a CSV file. So it's really easy for them. And you can actually change within the users, you can change the Lexile levels. So how cool is that? So each individual student, you can adjust the Lexile levels to any 3 Lexile levels, and then that'll be any 5 when we go back to school fairly soon here, okay? You can sit there and see here some lesson plans that you're going to be able to find within News-O-Matic. So this is going to take you to a lesson plans page there. There you go. So you can see all of the different lesson plans that we have, different grade levels that you can access as a teacher. We talked about SEL before. There it is. There's science and all of those different resources that you're going to be able to use there. We can also search by standards if you wanted to use that. There's newsletters, and you can explore more in these specific science, these specific areas, right?
Brandon?
Yes.
Off this dashboard, is this also where you would click on the student and apply their disability should they have one?
So on you would do that in the little the little man in here, like the little stick person, I should say.
Okay.
That's where you would be able to put that. You could adjust their Lexile level in there, Jen, but you would not adjust their, like, we don't adjust their disabilities or abilities or whatever you want to call them on there. We just adjust it on the accessibility options on the on the left hand side of the little stick person that we have here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no worries at all. So that's what you're able to do. So you're going to have access to everything that you need within the Dashley report. You'll have a monthly report that you can access. All of that, it makes it really easy to see how things are being used, right? So just for a second here, I just want to go through and be able to show you all of our images from over the years, right? Or excuse me, or from over the months, but also over the years. Look at how engaging this works on. Look at the artwork that we put on this, right? And covering sports, science, every different things that we can cover over this NATO, the economy of the eclipse, World Autism Day, right? Look at all the images that you're going to be able to find within this. And this is what really makes News-O-Matic great. The eclipse and how important, how many people got to experience that, right? mapping a new nation, the first United States map that we can talk about as we go through this, right? But it's just such a cool thing to be able to see all the different images in there. And the National Women's Hall of Fame, we're going to talk about that in just a second here on that National Women's Hall of Fame, because we're going to hit on this in terms of another contest that we recently did, okay? So we recently teamed up with the National Women's Hall of Fame and had the students at different levels submit essays on somebody that might have influenced them, okay? Somebody that had a great influence on them. So we had a student who was also from New York who had won this contest for us, right? And so here's her article. So Stella actually produced this winning essay on an inspiring caretaker named Florence Wall. Okay. How cool is this for her? Not only did we send Stella to the New York Stock Exchange, right? She actually got to ring the bell at the stock exchange. Okay. Think about how cool that would be as a student. We went a step further.
The National
And I'm going to show you just a quick video on this.
Women's Hall of Fame is proud to partner with News-O-Matic to share inspiring stories with students in thousands of schools across the country. Last March, a Who Inspires Me essay contest challenged young readers to consider the impact of Women's Hall of Fame inductees. Sixth grader, the amazing Stella College from Bohemia, New York, wrote a winning essay about 1998 inductee Florence Wall. Now Stella's about to come on stage, and to help me welcome her, can we just bring her really comfortable? Ready now? Stella, Stella, Stella.
So Stella gets to read, right? And I'm just going to show you this really quickly
She
here.
did not want to give unnecessary drugs. Her mission was to help others. Florence Wall started working for hospice from her 20s until her late 80s. Wall kept
So you're
going
able to see this here.
to all tonight's inductees being an inspiration to me and young girls all across America.
So Stella got to do that in front of the governor. And she she had a standing ovation at the end. You could see her cross her hands. She couldn't get off that stage quick enough, right? You know, and if somebody was chanting my name, Stella, I don't know if that would make me more or less nervous, right? But that's okay, right? But the point is, think about what we're trying to do to empower students. We got a fantastic note from not only her teacher, but her parents saying that this just made her, this is one of the moments she'll never forget in her life, right? So if we can do one thing and we can influence one student and not just do that with one student, but do it thousands of students nationwide, that's really what we're aiming for. So I'm going to hand this off to Jen right now, who's going to talk to you more about the Catholic side of this. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you have in this chat. And Jen, I'll go ahead and hand it to you now.
Well, what I was going to say and add is that, first of all, I thank you for your presentation, Brandon. And I think it is so impressive that you have over 15,000 articles focused, you know, on this platform, as well as the engagement, as well as the different languages, the intercultural education that's involved. And also the fact that the psychologist reviews each article. I think that is so impressive. As a parent myself, and I'm sure the teachers out there as well appreciate that, to make sure that it's safe for our youth to be reviewing these articles. And the engagement, like I mentioned before, the engagement is bar none. It is just wonderful. And then we have that niche of Catholic articles. I love that. Dave, you had mentioned that to me earlier as well. That's our niche. I love the fact that there's Catholic articles to be able to teach in that religion class.
Yes, Jen, and I really like the way Brandon has shown that. And one thing I would like Brandon just to do really quickly is show how the articles relate to the standards of the state. This really helps the educational process, especially with the reading comprehension across the board. With the Flum Gospel Weeklies, how we parallel with them, how our reading comprehension excels with those students to help them learn about their Catholic identity and help their reading process. The News-O-Matic does the same thing. This is a wonderful program. Brandon, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but could you just show really quickly the standards across the country for teaching?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're able to see here, we just chose New York here, social studies grades 4. You can choose up to 3 different standards in here. Anything in black means that we have articles for it. So we cover so many standards. And even if you're seeing in gray, typically it's a substandard that you're able to see in here. But look at all of the black that we have in here to be able to cover that. So for example, we want to go into science. We want to see different articles. Look at all of the articles that we can use in this. We do a search, and those articles pop up for those students. So it makes it really easy to align those standards to the articles for those educators as well.
And especially teaching for the test during the year, especially and when I'm from New York, teaching for the ELA tests and across the country, the many different tests. We have the New York State Regents. We have these tests that will help the students achieve their goal in their reading comprehension. Thank you, Brandon, very much. I'm going to turn it back over to Jen for right now. Jen?
Yes, so I just love how those articles are all aligned to the standards. I think that's important. I think it helps the obviously the instructors, the schools, the administrators. Angela, do you have a few points that you'd like to mention? Not only about the aligned articles with the standards, but any of the other points of interest that Brandon has outlined?
Yes, I would like to say that I'm very impressed with the platform. It's amazing. I just love those contents and the happiness on those kids' faces and the possibility of them being one of those winning parties, right? And receiving all those wonderful, not only the applause and the awards or whatever, but like Brandon mentioned, those memories for life, what they were capable of doing and what they can take with them. And of course, by us being a Catholic publisher, I love the Catholic content and the Catholic identity for religion teachers, which is very specific, and it's not in Catholic schools, all the subjects should are teaching about Catholic identity, right? But specifically religion and theology. I don't know.
And not to mention the inclusivity of special needs. I think that is
yes.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
So yes.
And one thing that I would like to add is the most wonderful introductory price that Flum and Bayard will be offering this school year. We are offering a great price of $995 for the entire year for any Catholic school across the country. Right at the end of this presentation, we will put up on the screen every representative from Flum Publishing, a division of Bayard, on the screen that you could stop and say, hey, I want to give them a call. I want to call my rep that represents Indiana or Ohio or South Carolina. I want to talk to them about News-O-Matic for our Catholic school. This is such a great way to help your students grow with reading comprehension. Brandon, you did a great job. I really, really, really excited about this program. And it's so nice that I am very special being part of the Bayard family. I get to wear the News-O-Matic sticker.
Oh, love it.
I got mine. I get to wear one all the time when I go into the Catholic school. I don't know, Angela and Jen.
Of course, David, matches your shirt.
Yes.
Matching
Thank
your
you,
shirt. I
mine.
love it.
Where is mine?
You know,
We're gonna get them. We're gonna get them to you.
We'll get them.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much. I want to thank Brandon Cohen from News-O-Matic, my wonderful co-host Jen Miller, and Angela Valencia from California to be with me for this afternoon. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We're gonna put it up on the screen right at the end that we will our phone numbers, our emails across the company lines. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your day. Think spring, think summertime. It's right around the corner.
Yes.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks,
you. Angela.
Wonderful team.
Thank you,
Wonderful team.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
See you
Thank you
later.
very much.